Okay, welcome. So everybody can hear me? I think everything looks like it's rolling on my side. Cool. You may notice this is a sync session. So we've done webinars in the past, and they've been great in general. We've moved over to these things called sync sessions, which are more of a back and forth. If you guys have any questions or anything, you can just jump in. You can throw it in the chat. We're going to keep looking at that. Or you could just interrupt me, unmute yourself and throw it out there. We found those have been, more valuable, more useful to everybody coming to these sessions than having a giant webinar where somebody raises their hand and we miss it and you don't get your actual questions answered. So that's what we're doing today. Google Contacts and KW Command. So let me tell you a little bit about what this integration is and why people are using it. So Google Contacts, if you're not familiar, is the contact manager you use for your phone, and you'll use it for your Gmail. We have kind of this example set up. This is what it looks like on desktop. It's going to look very different on your phone. It's going to look like just your normal contact book. And so if you're saving your contacts in here, which if you're a KW agent, you automatically have your kw.com account is a Google account. So if you're saving your contacts here, what we want to be able to do is set up an integration, a sync, an automation that takes all those contacts that you're saving to your phone, saving to your Gmail, your kw.com account, and automatically adds them to KW Command. And we want it to go vice versa. So if you're saving contacts to KW Command, you have leads coming in from another source, or you have somebody adding something, maybe an assistant adding contacts to your command leads. We want those to automatically get synced to your email and your phone. So you can fire off emails, you can send off texts, and you don't have to go look up their contact information. It's just all connected, and it's going to save you a bunch of data entry time, and you're not going to lose these leads. They're just always going to be where you need them to be. So that's what this is. Last week, you may have got an email inviting you to last week. Last week was specifically focused on rainmakers and team leaders because we have an integration for them, which has an additional feature of being able to bring contacts into Command and having Command use the lead routing tools to assign them to people on your team. This week, we are just talking about individual agents. If you, as an agent, are looking to connect your phone to your command, this is the integration we're going to talk about. The last thing I wanted to touch on is there are a couple different ways. KW Command is pretty flexible, as is Google Contacts. So you can export everybody from Command and then import them into your Google Contacts. And you can do that also, export all your Google Contacts, put them in KW Command. And there's some other integrations built in. The reason people end up going with this integration is it's a live connection. And you don't have to remember to go push a button or resync or do anything like that. The connection is just going. It's monitoring anybody who gets added for you. So you don't have to go, remember, the last time I pushed that button was to send everybody over was last week. That's why these people aren't showing up. It's not going to work like that. Just you add people to your phone and they show up in Command. You add people to Command and they show up in your phone automatically because it's a live connection. So that's kind of what's going on here. So let me show you what it looks like to set this up. So if you are not, let's go over to Command. So if you're in Command, it's going to have me sign in real quick. If you're in Command, you're going to want to go from Command to the KW Marketplace. So if you sign into Command to get to the KW Marketplace, you're just going to click on this guy up here. It's a little storefront. You just click on it, and it'll take you out to the Marketplace, which is this. It's a ton of different awesome tools in here, which you can search for, you can use. We have a couple little banners here talking about Rainmaker syncs and lead gen syncs. So feel free to click on any of those if you're looking for those. To sync Google Contacts, you can just search for Google Contacts here. And it's going to bring up a few different integrations. Here's that Rainmaker and Team Sync we talked about last week. Again, if you're not a Rainmaker, don't worry about that. That's a totally different thing. If you are a Rainmaker and you want to be able to, sync leads to KW and use the lead routing tool, that's the one you want. If you're an individual agent, like most of the people I've talked to, then this is the one you want. So $10 a month. It's going to be a live connection between your phone and KW Command, taking care of all the back and forth of those contacts. So you would just click buy now. Once you go through buy now, you'll go through the whole process. And then once you purchase it, it'll be in my apps. Click on that. And then it's going to be right down here or up here. It'll be in here somewhere. You're just going to click on it to set it up. It'll take you out to API Nation to finish the setup. You're going to grab that Google account and hit next. And then it's just going to ask you a few questions about how you want to connect it. So biggest ones here, come on down here. This is where I would start actually, is down here. And what would you like to sync? Do you want to sync contacts from KW Command to Google Contacts and Google Contacts to KW Command? Or do you just want to go a single direction? Totally up to you. Most people I talk to want to go both directions. That's why they're both checked when you start. But if, for example, maybe you have 30,000 contacts in Google Contacts and you're just trying to keep your KW Command pretty neat and tidy, then maybe I would just say, you know what? Let's just sync my KW Command to my Google Contacts. Let's just do it that direction. I'm going to go with both just so I can show you. You can also just check here and make sure you're not using any other contact syncs, PySync, Zapier, anything else. If we have more than one automation from different platforms working, you might get some duplicates. If you only, you can have more than one automation on API Nation working, that's totally fine. There's some stuff built in that we won't duplicate stuff within our own automations, but if there's another platform running, we can't guarantee that. Finally, we'll come up here. Pretty straightforward. Do you want to sync all contacts when we turn this on? What that means is all the existing people in KW Command get pushed to the connected app. Same thing here. Do I want all the existing people in Google Contacts synced to KW Command? You can check these boxes if you want that to happen. It's going to take, it's going to get them all up to date. If instead you just want it to start keeping track from now on, just leave the box unchecked. Do you want to overwrite information? So if the contact already exists in the other app, should we overwrite it or should we just fill in the blanks? I'm going to say don't overwrite it, just fill in those blanks. And then do you want to mark it as a lead? So you can mark it as leads. You can mark it just as a contact. You can choose any of these options. Do not mark contacts as lead. Only mark it when it's updated. I'm going to go ahead and just say mark lead when contact updated. Now let's do created. There we go. Finally, the last thing is the folder. So if you want to put all the contacts from KW Command into a specific folder in Google Contacts, you can see in Google Contacts, they have these. They're called labels in Google Contacts, but they're basically folders or tags. If you want to put them all in a single one, you can do that. Just grab this and choose it. You could also create a new one and say, let's do KW Command Contacts. Just be aware if you do this, if you set it up this way, it's going to put them all in KW Command Contacts. And it's also only going to look at that folder, KW Command Contacts, for what you want to put into KW Command. So just keep that in mind. You've basically, you're syncing that one folder to KW Command instead of your entire contacts. So there we go. We finished setting that up and we're now on the final step. Basically, you just want to do a final check on both of these and then hit the big button to start them. So I'm going to do a final check here. Click on it. All the stuff we just set up is going to be here. We're sending only people from that label. They're going to KW Command, getting marked as leads. Two big things I want to show you here before we go on and activate this. One is this general filter we have on all of our syncs now. And this you can just use to filter exactly who's going on. If you want to get down into the granular stuff, the nitty gritty, all of this stuff can help you find those people. So for example, maybe you're only trying to sync over people who work for a particular company. You can say that. Maybe I'm only trying to get people whose company in my phone says KW. I'm trying to build a roster of everybody who works from KW into, into a specific part of KW. You could do that. Maybe you're only trying to build people who have a certain job title, agent. Maybe you're only trying to focus on people who are in a certain zip code. I'm only working in the 90210 zip code. So those are the only people I care about getting in KW Command. You can do any of those things, and you can mix and match rules or rules to filter for exactly who you want. In general, most people I talk to who are setting up this sync, they're just trying to get contacts over. So they usually probably go with no filter, but you could go with the filter for sure. And the last part is the mapping. So this just shows you where people from the Google contacts, the information from Google contacts, where it's going to go in KW command. So the first name is going to go to the first name. The email is going to go to email, phone to phone, all this stuff. If you scroll on down, there's anything else you want to add. For example, for description, a lot of people like to add the notes from Google contacts into the description. For the source, so you can add a field like that, which is a dynamic field for the contact. Or you can write a static field. So you can actually just type in here Google Contacts. And then everybody who comes through the sync will have the word Google Contacts written as their source. You can do that with tags also. So maybe I only want people who come through this to be tagged on my phone. You can do that, have them all tagged that way. So a lot of different options.
Gabriel, question,
Yes.
if I may. This is Alan from Honolulu. I understand, like, with the description and notes, that KW command now has like timed and dated notes. How does that sync over to Google like the way I've done it before that is like I just put a date, so I have just one big note for everybody as opposed to individual date. How does API Nation handle that situation?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things. Let's see here. So if I'm looking at my contacts, there's this timeline here, and that's where you can add what they call notes in KW command. And so you can add, little bits of information. And this stuff is not currently available to sync into Google Contacts. So anything you add in here, tasks, marks that say, I emailed them this day, this stuff cannot currently come over into Google Contacts. The field that can come over into Google Contacts is this stuff down here in the about. So if you write notes about how you met them in the description, or who they are, or when they're, who their kids are in that description folder, this stuff can get synced into the notes of Google Contacts. And then if you update the stuff in the description, let's say that is, you're just continuing to add kids' names, something like that, then this description will sync over to Google Contacts and update it, as long as this box here is not checked. Because you have this box here that says do not. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to want to uncheck that so that it will continue to overwrite the field.
Okay. So like if you use notes, so is there like a character limitation for that description on the command side, or like it'll just keep updating, like if you have it going both ways?
That's a great question. Let me see. There's definitely a contact limitation, or I'm sorry, a character limitation. I don't think it's very small. I think it's pretty big.
Okay.
I can ping my team and find out what it is. Let me see if I can quickly add something really long here. All right, so this is about 7,500 characters. Let's see if it'll let me do it. So it says 7,600 characters. So it lets me save that here in command. So that just double check and make sure that says, this box is unchecked so that it will overwrite that information. This can be helpful if you're syncing over stuff and you just want to make sure, it's specifically if, maybe Google Contacts isn't the most up to date of your databases. You can make sure it syncs over stuff into KW command. But yeah, and that's about it. Phil, I see that hand. What's going on?
Hey, thanks, Gabriel. I was just, like I said, I've been using this since day one, and we were beta testing it way back, but I haven't gone and looked at this. First, I just went into my apps and I looked up and I got my syncs, and it says Google Contacts to KW command, and then I've got KW command to Google Contacts. So when I click on contacts to Google to command. I come down and it says, actually, it's got October 26th. What is the date today? Is it today? And it keeps coming up every 15 minutes. I got it set for, and it's just got ignored, 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 ignored. Wow. Oh, okay. So I guess it's only when I've made a change to one of those contacts that are syncing that it's going to transfer data, right? So I get
That's correct. Yeah. So
okay,
if I hit
great.
activate sync on this thing, it'll take
Yeah.
me to the logs. It looks like there's no logs yet. But
Okay.
what Phil's talking about is there'll be logs here. And every 15 minutes, the sync is going to check and double check, has anything get updated? And if nothing has been updated, then it'll just say nothing has happened. It'll say ignored. The data has been ignored. You can also use this drop down here to filter for, will show me the last time it did send some stuff over.
Okay.
And then it'll show you the last time contacts came over.
Okay, that's question one. If I could take a second here.
Yeah.
The other one is in my Google contacts. When I was really shown to set up, I have to put in. I made a tag up KW command, so that those are the ones that are going to sync because I had 6,500 contacts and I didn't want so KW command. But if I'm just entering something into my phone here, there's no a new contact into my phone. There's no way to add, there isn't a field for that tag. So I have to go into Google Contacts each time and tag that, and then it will sync, or am I missing something?
No, you're correct. So what kind of phone do you have?
iPhone.
iPhone, okay. I'll have to double check and see what it looks like on an iPhone, but let me see if I can find it on my phone.
I think then I went and clicked on my command contacts to Google, and it shows there are no logs. It's never running, so I must have something set wrong somewhere because I've had this turned on forever. But then I've noticed I put somebody in command, then I try and find them on my phone, and they're not. So I guess something under settings must be wrong. Is what I'm thinking.
Phil, with your permission, what I'm seeing that myself. What I like to actually do is try to just set up a new workflow for you from KW to Google, just to see if something happened with the creation of that workflow. Would that be okay for me to just go ahead and set that up? I'll just map your settings there and then just turn it on. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Give me just a few minutes while I do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alan. So here's the contact information on Google Contacts. This is an Android phone, but I imagine it's pretty similar. You just go into the contacts.
Yeah.
You're just going to scroll down and hit more fields. Go all the way to the bottom, and you'll see notes here. And then right below that is the label. So that is the label you're going to want to change to KW Command Contacts to sync it in there.
And that's not.
And you have to be careful because it also allows you to label different phone numbers as, work or home or whatever. So you need to go all the way to the bottom until you see that little icon right there with the little tab. And that's the one you want to sync.
Okay, and if I'm doing this I got my iPhone now, and I got the name, company, phone numbers, email, add email, ringtone, text tone, add URL, add address, add birthday, add date, add related name, add social, add instant message. There's notes, and then there's got one that says add field. So I don't know if I can do it with that. Okay, add field.
All right, well, that might be a custom field. I'll have to double check on an iPhone and get back to you there, Phil.
Sure.
I assumed it was at the bottom, but it might be set up a little bit different. It might be at the very top, but I can double check.
It's not anywhere on the iPhone for the label.
Okay.
That was always my thing, and I didn't know if it was just a quick, oh, I should set something else up, or if I thought if I added a field, it comes up and it says prefix, pronunciation, first name, maiden name, suffix, nickname, job title, department. So it doesn't have a label field. So that's where I feel I've been missing out on this one. But
yeah, let me double check.
Sure.
I got some people around here with iPhones, so I'll grab one and I'll see if I can find out where that field is there in the iPhone.
If
And
it's
then,
if it's helpful, I've been thinking a while too. I use Contacts Plus as kind of my main repository
oh yeah, uh-huh.
of information. So I have it syncing to my iPhone, and so it took care of that label slash tag, whatever you want to call it, situation. So I just always, if I add a new contact in, like on my iPhone, if somebody calls me and I add it, it'll eventually update to Contacts Plus, and then I can later on add all the, the notes and the tags and stuff that I want pretty seamlessly.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Contacts Plus is another app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Contacts Plus, kind of their thing is they'll enrich your current apps with whatever information they can grab about that email address, letting you know more information about who that contact is. So it's pretty handy to have around. A lot of KW agents I've talked to will use it also, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bill, I had a quick question. In terms of setting up this other workflow for you, did you want me to have it sync all contacts from KW to Google, or only your new contacts that you add from this point forward?
No, all contacts from Command
Okay.
to Google. Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Of course.
Thank you.
All right, cool. So the last kind of things I wanted to cover here is, that's how you set up the sync. If you go into My Syncs, once you set that up, there's going to be the sync going the opposite direction. You're just going to want to do the same thing. Go through here, double check everything you have set up, decide if you want to filter, make the mapping exactly how you want it, including, in most cases, again, putting the notes in the description. Let's see here. Maybe it's already doing it. There's notes. All right. And then activate that. So then you have two syncs running. In general, this is, if you're just getting started, or if this is kind of how you want it set up, absolutely, you're ready to go. You have two syncs going back and forth, sending contacts you add from either app into the connected app. The last thing I wanted to show you is sometimes, kind of like Phil and Alan have both talked about, sometimes you want to use the labels in Google Contacts to kind of manage them. So if you are trying to do that, you can do something like this. So you would come in here and choose a folder, let's say, Fort Worth. So let's say that is my hashtag in KW command. I want everybody who I hashtag Fort Worth to go into the label Fort Worth in Google Contacts. So I'll choose that label. The next thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and name this automation, so I always remember what this one is focused on. It's focused on my Fort Worth hashtag. And then I'll come to the filter here, and I'll filter for the tag contains. Very important you go with contains and is not is, because you want contains. And then I'll say, if it's tagged with Fort Worth, bring it over in this sync and put it in the Fort Worth folder.
Is that
And
little
then,
area, sorry, is that little area there case sensitive?
it can be. You can select
Oh, okay, got it,
case
okay.
sensitive. Yeah. In general, by default, it's not.
Okay.
But make sure to hit save, because otherwise it'll still show up, but it won't actually apply it. So be sure to hit save when you do that. And then you would just go through and clone the sync, changing the values for whichever other hashtags you were trying to send over. So then you would say, hot lead, change this folder, create a folder called hot lead, and then change the filter to hashtag or tag hot lead. So that's how you would get it from KW to Google. Set it up that way. Similar thing going back the other direction from Google to KW. Just go in here. You're going to choose the label, Fort Worth. You're going to name this Fort Worth so you don't forget. Fort Worth. And then you'll come down here, and instead of filtering it, you'll actually come down here to the tag and tag this thing Fort Worth, because it's already the filter is already set up to only sync over people from that label. So that's kind of the filter that you're going to work with. You just needed to apply the tag Fort Worth for everybody who comes through this sync. So that's what you do, and then you just keep cloning it, adding the different values, and that's how you can sync tags to the Google contact labels. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Very cool. Cool. All right. Well, that is about it for us. Phil, let me hop on an iPhone. I know Ian's digging through it right now, looking for it, and he's not seeing it either.
Okay.
So I will hop on there, and we'll add up.
I had an add-on question, if I may. So I've been using API Nation kind of a long time as well, and my present situation that I'm trying to find a fix for is that I use Contacts Plus / Google Contacts as my main repository, and I'm one-waying everything over to KW Command. And I've set up like workflows, on a tag label, tag / label basis, to send stuff over. The thing that I haven't figured out how to do yet is I would really like if a contact in Google Contacts has multiple tags, I would like those multiple tags to also be reflected in KW Command. And I haven't figured out how to do that, or if I can do that.
I would need to double check. I just test it to make sure this works. But I would expect the behavior to be, again, if you uncheck this box, the don't overwrite, so that it is allowed to overwrite.
Okay.
I would need to double check, because what you're kind of describing is, I would expect it to append the Fort Worth tag to all the other tags you have in KW Command, right? So if you're already in KW Command, you've already tagged it follow up and a FISBO or whatever, and then it comes through the sync, I would expect a third tag Fort Worth to get added, but I would need to double check and make sure it's not just going to remove the first two tags and add this one. But that's how
because I feel like what is happening is it like I don't have do not overwrite unchecked. And it seems like on those contacts, I only get whatever the newest, if I add a new tag later on down the line, it doesn't append it, it replaces it with.
Got it. Yep.
If I'm not fully 100% tracking it, from a testing perspective, I didn't do that. It's just more anecdotal. I'm like, hey, I know I have more tags for this person, but all the people in command just have basically one tag on them now.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, let me double check. Maybe it works the other way then. Maybe if we say do not overwrite, we might have told it the tag field is a special field where you continue to add information even though there's already information there. So let me test that without you having to go through it, and then if it's not, I
was thinking, because there's an I have a lot of tags in Google Contacts, so I'm open to doing a two-way sync, or syncing everything, as opposed to just those 24 tags that I have going there now, if that will fix my getting the tags in both places.
Right. Okay.
Because it takes a lot of time to go through tag by tag and clone them and set them up and stuff too. So
for sure. Yeah, it can take a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, let me find out how those tags, the behavior is there. It sounds like if the box is unchecked, then it just overwrites it, removes it. So maybe if the box is checked, it might append it. That's what
okay.
Cool. Let me find out about that, Alan, and then Phil, I will let you know about that iPhone. Was there a second question, or?
There actually was. I'm just wondering if, and I see some of these. Looks like I've got that active workflow. Thank you very much. Ian, I think, was doing that for me. The other thing is rather than add another app and get into something, is there a way in my current copy Google Contacts to Command? is, because the only people that are doing that now, it says I had to label them separately, go into contacts and add KW command. Is there a way to add to my current sync that direction that everyone from this point on would, I wouldn't have to add, everyone from this point on from Google contacts that I added would go right into command. And keep the one I already have without uploading, 6,000 contacts.
Yeah. So what you could do here is, so you have, you
Contacts.
have the sync you're running.
Yep.
Let's just call this current sync. So this one's already running, and then you could just clone it. And this one you just say from now on. And then just choose all, or default as the labels. So that means anybody that gets added to Google Contacts. You're going to make sure not to check this box that says sync all contacts on first run, because you're not trying to get all the historic, all the existing people. You just want people you save from now on. And then you're pretty much ready to go. So you'll just make sure the label is set to default. That way it's not worrying about if you've labeled them or not. If you put them in the correct label, it's just going to say, oh, that person's in Google Contacts. I'm supposed to bring them all over. Let's do it.
Okay, so I got
from now on. Right.
My sync here, and I just say whatever from now on, Google Contacts to command. And I go into settings or scroll down.
Settings. Yep.
Settings. Okay. Settings. Thank you for this time. I appreciate it.
No, not at all.
Okay. Click settings.
And then you'll change the label to default. And then just make sure sync all contacts is not checked.
Contact groups instead of contact groups to default. It's also got KW command. So I guess I probably leave that one as well. So it's default and KW command. Or
I would take out KW command and just do default, just for neatness sake.
All right, that's fine. Default. Yeah, don't sync on the first one.
Yep. So unchecked, and then
set contact as lead. Do not write information in KW fields. Only add information into blank fields. Is that either one of those? No, I'm just good.
That one's probably fine. You can leave that checked if you like.
It's unchecked right now.
Oh, okay. You either way, yeah. These are new people coming over anyway, so
yeah. So I just want anyone I put into Google, this should on top of what's already syncing. There's no advanced mode I need in here. It's just got normal
not with that filter
people, and I think I added my notes one down.
Yeah, and all this mapping stuff. Yeah, all this mapping stuff because you cloned it.
Yeah,
it should be the exact same as that sync that you set up. So the only thing you'd want to double check is make sure there's no tag or something that you are applying from the first automation that you don't want applied here. But other than that, everything should be
activate sync. Right, sync is running. So when I go back to my syncs, I should not have two of those running. Right, I want to.
You could have two of them running. It'd be fine.
Okay. Because from now on, Google Contacts command. So I should be able to just put in. Oh, and is there a minimum amount? So right now on my phone, I just went in and I just said I'm adding somebody. Test today. Is there a minimum amount? Like it has to have a phone number and an email to sync, or does it matter?
It does require a first name and last name and either a phone or an email.
Oh, okay. Hold on. But one or the other.
One or the other, yep.
Two, okay. So it's got a phone, it's got a first. So it has to have a first and a last name and a phone or an email.
Yep, exactly.
Not both. So if I just said done, so I just put that into my Google Contacts today and I'll refresh that screen. if I went
And then,
in.
yep, it might not sync over immediately. The schedule for the sync is about every 15 minutes.
Right.
It just double checks.
If I just went in here now and I said sync now, though,
Yep, you can do that. Mhm.
it said workflow.
And then if you
Yeah.
see the logs, it should say, if you give it a second, it should say processing, and then you should get a green light here if it's coming over.
Oh, okay. Oops, where am I back on my work process? Refresh logs. And October 26th at 14:46, and the workflow started. It says processing right now.
Mhm.
And that refresh logs, it's only should be one piece of information. I would think wouldn't take long.
Yeah, we occasionally need to wait for the command servers to receive it.
Gotcha.
Like all the integration platforms are using the same servers trying to get stuff pushed in here.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that'll be very exciting for me that I've solved that. I don't have to use Contacts Plus. I can just simply from now on, all
Anybody you add from now on should go in right into command.
Yeah, and it just says workflow started success. Yay, that's going to be a big help.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad that worked out. Cool. Well, Phil, Ian, Patricio, Alan, Osvaldo, great having you guys. If you need anything, feel free to email me. The email you got kind of inviting you here, you can just reply to it and ask any questions. It's just going to go right back to me. And I look forward to seeing you guys at any future training sessions. Great having you. Take care.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Gabriel.